America's top private army is now fighting his critics with the pen instead of the sword. Blackwater security creator Erik Prince takes on all comers in his new book. And tonight, correspondent Leland Biddard on the rise and fall of a military, civilian, and economic warrior.
Blackwater's name came from the 7,000 acres of North Carolina's dismal swamp Erik Prince bought to start his business. The rattlesnake-infested muck looked like Blackwater.
It's a total of 7 ranges and 1 shoot house.
Prince is happy to show off Blackwater's former headquarters.
We're at our core a training operation.
Prince, however, won't elaborate on his contracts with the CIA or the base they once had inside Blackwater headquarters for the darkest of black operations. Prince himself conducted missions for the agency with his contractors, like building human intelligence networks in Syria and other hostile environments, a practice he says the Obama administration has not continued, leaving the U.S. few options.
You have an $80 billion intelligence budget, and so the realm of not just intel collection, hard intel collection on the ground, which I know for the U.S. government is very limited in Syria, to the covert action, the sabotage, the black arts, the dirty tricks of intelligence that you should be able to do without the president having to resort to jet fighters, Tomahawk missiles, and laser-guided bombs. If you don't have all those tools in your toolkit or be willing to use them, it's kind of a big waste.
And then I asked him, are the American taxpayers getting a raw deal?
Absolutely. They are not getting what they're paying for.
Prince says he and his company did it cheaper and better than anybody else. Missions like guarding the U.S. ambassador in Iraq during post-war Baghdad, when Paul Bremer and his staff were constantly under threat.
Between Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, the company did more than 100,000 missions. No one under our care was ever killed or injured.
But now he maintains a culture of risk-averse bureaucracy has consumed America's foreign service. His evidence is the consulate in Benghazi, staffed only with diplomatic protection officers and local guards that were no match for the well-trained and armed militants who succeeded in killing U.S. Ambassador Chris Stevens and his State Department comrade. The only heroes? Tyrone Woods and Glenn Doherty, CIA contractors who launched a rescue mission from Tripoli, even though that wasn't their responsibility.
Woods and Doherty violated their superiors' orders to stand down, and they went to the sound of the gunfire. They went to the annex, to that consulate, and evacuated, I think, almost 30 more Americans who would have died if left to the hands of those terrorists that attacked the place. They didn't just come to kill Stevens that night. They came to kill as many Americans as they could, and those two guys stood the line and did amazing work. I mean, if they were in active duty, they would have been awarded the Medal of Honor.
Prince's guards were hired to protect U.S. diplomats visiting here in the West Bank, a hotbed for Palestinian militant activity. At the time, the political wing of Hamas complained about Blackwater's tactics and reputation. For Prince, it's a matter of pride. Not only the people he has protected, but the enemies he has made doing it.
I'm perfectly comfortable that the Taliban, Hezbollah, Al-Qaeda, and the likes of Henry Waxman are my enemies.
But it was that aura of controversy that ultimately got Prince all but banned from U.S. government contracting and his cover blown as a CIA asset.
An intelligence agency doesn't need to be so big. We certainly have the largest intelligence apparatus in the world, but by no means the most effective.
The former Navy SEAL now spends much of his time in Abu Dhabi, starting a private equity fund to finance new businesses with their own private armies in the world's hotspots. A financially effective model he says the U.S. should follow.
I will take anybody on in that inherently governmental argument that the private sector can do it cheaper, better, faster, and smarter. Competition is a very good thing. Competition in healthcare is a very good thing. If we think that government only can run military kind of services or some of the ancillary services that go around the military, think about healthcare right now. Think about government can't even run a healthcare website.
He tells of a critical resupply mission in Afghanistan. The U.S. Air Force, with their state-of-the-art technology, wouldn't even attempt it. His men pulled the mission off in their propeller planes.
There was, as I recall, a company of the 82nd Airborne in a big firefight. They were running out of ammo, and they called the Air Force for resupply. That inherently governmental function. The Air Force is supposed to support the Army. Well, the Air Force wouldn't fly below 3,000 feet, and they wouldn't fly up to into a box canyon. So they asked us if we'd do it, and we did.
Erik Prince accepts his lightning rod status, but says in the end, he'll be remembered for having the courage to serve his country in some of its darkest hours.
I'd say on my tombstone someday, I'd at least like it to be written that Erik Prince always had the courage to try.
Even if now he's spending a lot of time on his sailboat off the shores of Abu Dhabi. In Jerusalem, Leland Vittert, Fox News.